at another common mistake that students make in the topic of angles. Now, angles is a visual topic, so you should make it a habit to read the question carefully because there's some information in the question that might not be reflected in the diagram. Now, let's look at this question here, for example. Without reading the question, you might be misled to think that A, B, C, E is a parallelogram. And then when they ask you to solve for angle CED, you will apply the alphabet U over here. And then you will think that to solve for CED, you will use 180 to take away 70, and you get the answer to be 110. But this is not the correct way to solve it because let's read the question. Let's interpret the information that is given. It says that ABCD is a trapezium. Okay, let's highlight this. ABCD is a trapezium. So you should know that for a trapezium, there is one pair of parallel lines, and the pair of parallel lines is over here, BC and AD. It's very obvious from the diagram that AB and CD is not parallel to each other, so that pair of parallel lines must be referring to BC and AD. Now, so if BC and AD is a pair of parallel lines, so instead of using the letter U, of course, you can use other alphabets that you have learned in your PSLE Acute. Like, for example, you can use the alphabet Z. Remember, I told you Z is a very common alphabet that's tested when you have parallel lines. So when you see the letter Z, you are able to find out that this angle here is 30 degrees. And then next, they tell us that EC is equal to ED. So this is what I'm saying. If you don't read this question, you might think, okay, so what if I have this 30 over here? I'm still not able to solve for angle CED. But that's why I say you need to read the question carefully. And when they say that EC is equivalent to ED, please make sure you indicate the strokes yourself. EC is parallel to ED. Now, once you have indicated the stroke, you will be able to see that this triangle over here is an isosceles triangle. So since it's an isosceles triangle, this angle over here is also 30 degrees. And so the correct way to solve for angle CED is by using 180 to take away 30 and 30, and that gives you an answer to be 120 degrees. So 120 degrees is the correct answer and not by this way. Okay, so then subsequently for part B, the question wants you to determine whether each of the statements are correct or not. And then for the first one, ABD is an equilateral triangle. So you should know for equilateral triangles, that means that all three sides are the same. And so each of these angles should be 60, 60, and 60. Since this is already 70, so that will mean that ABD is not an equilateral triangle. So it's false. And then next, ABCE is a parallelogram. So this is what I've said just now about it being a parallelogram. You might be misled to think that it's a parallelogram. Now, with the information that we have found in part A, we are going to check if it is correct for us to say that ABCE is a parallelogram or not. Now, let's indicate this angle that we have found. This is 120 degrees. Now, remember that for a parallelogram, there are two pairs of parallel lines. So that will mean that this AB is parallel to CE if this is a parallelogram. So if they are actually parallel to each other, that will mean that we can use the alphabet U over here. And remember that for the alphabet U, the two angles inside, the 70 and the 120, must add up to give you 180 degrees. So let's check that. 120 plus 70 gives us 190. So that will mean that this line AB and the line EC are not parallel to each other. So it's false too. Okay, then for the last statement, we have BD perpendicular to DC. In order for us to decide whether it's perpendicular or not, that will mean that we must find out whether this angle over here is 90 or not. And we do not have enough information over here. We don't have this angle over here to help us find out what that question mark is. So that's why for the third statement, It is not possible to tell. So for angles question, or for any visual questions, please make sure that once you retrieve any information from the question, you insert it or you update your diagram accordingly. Not just for angles, it's also for circles and for any visual topics, like even for volume. So please make sure that you have indicated whatever that's given in the question on your diagram so that you don't miss out any information. So you don't, sometimes maybe when you are doing and you realize that, oh, I'm stuck somewhere. So you might want to go and read the question again to see if you have missed out any crucial important information. Even sentences, simple sentences like A, B, C, D is a trapezium, also has a hidden information inside, which is trying to tell you that, okay, there's only one pair of parallel lines for this figure over here. So don't think that the information given in the question is not important. So make sure you read the question carefully in the exam, and then understand and interpret the sentences so that you can solve the questions more accurately.